Oh, it said go. We are live again to business planning for, I put on there, it's interesting. I put on some of the graphics for new construction sales consultants and things like that. The reality is that I think what we're going to talk about is probably good for anybody in any position in any, not just in sales too, right? In life, it's that piece of it that, um, that we talk about, and that it's a missing link in there. It's that business planning, but business planning is life planning, right? Anyway, welcome everybody. Great to see everybody this morning. I pointed out to Curtis and Matt just a second ago that I'm the only one without a professional background this morning, but I do have my secret weapon, and that is my co-host Pearl over here. So everybody say hi to Pearl. That's right. I think she heard you. So, guys, welcome. Curtis Tirey, Matthew Bright. Curtis is in Sarasota, for those who don't know and who are just joining us, and is an area sales manager with D.R. Horton. Matthew Bright is in the Tri-Cities, Tennessee area, Johnson City, Elizabeth, and Bristol, and just a fantastic and an on-site sales consultant there, has been there for a number of years, but and Curtis is a coach, and then I'm just watching out for her. I'm a dog. I'm her Velcro buddy over here. So, all right, guys, with that, let's get into it, because I know we have limited time, and I think we'll probably have some people on here, which will be a lot of fun, because there's been a lot of people that have done that. So if you guys have questions and you're watching this, please type them in the chat wherever you happen to be, whatever. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever it is, just type those questions. We'll answer them and we'll respond. So with that, let me start with this. Because both of you guys have been around the industry for a while, and you've both seen it from the sales side, you've seen it from the coaching side, the leadership side, all of those different things. Why do most people not go through this process? You weren't expecting that question.
No.
What do you think? Because it is one of those things that's been proven to add to success, is going through this process, but most don't.
So it's just lack of knowledge. I mean, tell you the truth, I mean, that's what it is. It's not understanding. And we were talking about this a little while ago, is it's not in their comfort zone, right? And if we're not comfortable with something, we tend to ignore it. That's just the way we are as individuals. So I think in the scheme of things, if we see a major new construction company, one, we're probably intimidated, right? We have to go in front of that salesperson who absolutely knows more about than we do, which in my opinion, they should actually gravitate towards that rather than repel. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And why don't they go through the business planning process, right? And add this piece to that, right? On both sides, right? We're talking about the sales consultants on new construction, and also let's just lump sales consultants, although there is a difference, right? Why do agents in general not go through the business planning process?
I'm right there with Matt. I think one is, not knowing how or process, with that. And number two, and to no fault, and I'm not calling anyone out, and yet there's a lot of companies with leadership in those companies where it's just not part of the process. They talk about, the company overall will come and, put some goals out there and have some sort of an action plan, but on an individual basis, they've not assisted, their sales professionals or even anybody within the company with any sort of business planning of any kind, as far as where do they want to be or where do they want to get to in their personal life and their professional life. So again, it's to no fault. It's just the companies may not have leadership that have the capacity to teach and to train around that and to assist people to get it done. So,
all right. Well, then on that note, let's give everybody a kind of a 6-step process for this piece of it. And guys, keep in mind that we've got, we'll probably go a little bit over 30 minutes, I'm guessing, on this one, and probably could go for hours. But let's talk about the very first one. And this is pause to reflect. And Matt, before we started, you were talking about your process on reflection and how you do that. Go over that.
Yeah, so my reflection actually kind of begins on my birthday, actually, which is January 29th. Coincidentally, is my birthday for starting DR Horton. Coincidentally. So that being said, that's a reflection date. Me and my wife also have another reflection date. It's actually 6 months later now, which is July the 29th, around that time period. And the reason is that's the end of the third quarter. We start our quarter, me and my wife in October. So that kind of starts starts it out, I guess, so to speak, getting everything prepared for October. And just trying to set goals, set our vision. Actually, that's probably the majority. And it's kind of crazy. We actually go to the lake, right? Go to Boone Lake. It's a 1-day event. Me and her know why we are there. We have notepads, and we set at Boone Dam, and we literally sit there and we discuss what is our vision for the year.
You brought up two things, and one of them, I hear so many people say you got to do it at before your fiscal year starts, right? Yeah. So most people talk about November, December for doing it. You do it not at those times, which means that anybody can do it anytime, right? Do it, right? The other piece of that too, and I think this is a critical piece, is you do this with your wife.
Yeah.
If you're business planning and where you're going and your reflection and your vision, which by the way is step 2, is not coherent or bringing in every part of the family to support, then what are your chances of succeeding? If everybody's not on the same path and not on the same process of going and don't have the same vision, then your chances are slim and slimmer. Curtis.
No, I love that. I love where Matt, he does it twice. Number one, right? So he's doing it ahead of the game, or when we should, right at the beginning, and yet you hit the nail on the head. Anybody can do it at any time. And then of course he's doing also a mid-year review, and I love that as well. And he incorporates those around him or his family. So that's uber important. And I think a lot of people sort of leave that one out. Like, I do think that you have to, you got to share it with your family. Listen, this is what, because you've got the personal and professional, and sometimes often that professional requires, depending on your goals, right, additional work, additional things that may in fact have an impact on them. Not to mention they can assist in holding you accountable to that, right? Like we're all in this sort of thing together. This is not a solo roadshow, right? So I love that. Going back to the pause to reflect before you get into the vision part, this is where, of all the years that I've taught business planning, so that's where it's one of the steps like people skip, right? And so you have to actually pause to reflect and, think about what were, some of my wins from the past year. What were some of my challenges? What did I want to achieve that maybe I missed the mark on that I can now carry over into the new year? And then the other thing is to bring, we're talking about business planning in a professional, you get your personal and professional, but we're talking more so about professional, and you got to bring your numbers with you. What did I do last year, 2024, right? So how many homes did I sell, or what were my KPIs and those things? What did I achieve as far as sales, and what did I want to do? Where did I miss the mark? And now, so that when you go create a vision going forward, well, here's where I was, and here's all the things I did. What do I want to do different going forward, right? So before you start getting into, casting a vision and doing all that kind of thing.
Yeah, that, I think those are huge when you're looking at that. It's interesting, that brings up something of making sure that your family's included with this process, right? I had a coaching client and a coach in the past that told me this story about how she had the accountability part, and we'll get more into that obviously, but why it was important to include the family and the rest of who's around you is she ended up telling her kids, because this industry is not easy, right? I mean, we have to work weekends, we have to work, it could be 24 hours a day, whatever it is. And if you've got kids or family, they're going, well, why aren't you here? why aren't you doing this? And if they don't know this process, but what she did is she had them put up, and you want to, this is brutal. She had 2 notes that she wrote to her kids. And one of them was, hey guys, I love you. And because of that, I did my calls and I did all of the things that I was supposed to do today so that we can get to where we're going to go and that I can pay for your college and do all of this stuff. So that's why I had to work, but I got it done today. Her second note was, guys, I love you, but I didn't follow through with my commitments today and I didn't make my calls. And every morning she had to put, or every night she had to put one of those on the refrigerator. And the kids ended up reading it and would say, well, Mom, why didn't you do what you were supposed to do today? I mean, that puts us, talk about brutal accountability, right? But again, they understood it, which if you're in your life and your world and the rest of the people around you don't understand why you're doing what you do and that it takes a long time, then that could cause challenges for people, right? So include them in what you're doing. So you mentioned gathering, looking at what you've done and reflecting. What are the key pieces that you're looking for? You talked about the KPIs and looking at the numbers, but you also talked about, potentially what works and what doesn't work. Matt, do you do that as well?
Yes, I'm so I'm looking at numbers. Traditionally, I set a goal of 1 contract per week, trying to get 1 under contract, and then being able to gather more business throughout the week. So that's worked pretty well for me thus far. This next year, I hope to be able to grow a little bit more with some other things that I'm implementing.
Cool. So you reflect on the Curtis. Anything you want to add in there?
No, I mean, he's, he got it right. He knows what his numbers are and what he was trying to do last year. And then, it's pretty straightforward, right? The numbers tell stories. So he can clearly go pull his, what did I do in 2024? Did I miss the mark, hit the mark? And then, what's that look like going forward? Do I want to double it? Do I want to go 1.5, whatever, right? But knowing, where he did, I think the other thing oftentimes that people leave out is, they go and they measure, well, I have this many sales. I think they have to look at the activities and the things that they did generating from that, from those sales. Right. So, because I think there's an opportunity to reflect and say, well, what was the thing that worked, or the things, right. That actually worked. And, what do I carry over into next year? What worked, what didn't work? Right. And, because stop doing the stuff that didn't work. I was about to swear, by the way. Stop doing those things and start doing maybe more of the other. I don't know, but you got to go back and you got to go individually. Like, all right, there was this sale, there was this sale, there was this sale. Where'd that come from? Where'd that come from? All that. So you do have to. So it's important to look at that information, even if you did miss the mark, even if you missed your goal by half. Well, you got to figure out why, so that it doesn't happen again. And maybe your business plan looks different going into the new year.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So that brings us to step number 2, create a vision. And this is, we hear this a lot in the industry. What's your vision, right? And there's a lot more to it than that. So both of you guys go into what it is and what it means to you to create a vision and what's included.
Matt?
So mine begins on Sunday evening. All right. Sunday evening, I sit down and I'm creating my vision for that week. What I want to accomplish, what I want to do. It's scheduled out to such, in this industry, sometimes it's hard to live on that schedule. However, I try to do it to the best of my ability. And I found out that when I create those visions and when I have that goal, believe in algorithms or not, it will create those algorithms where I think you do generate more leads and you get your name more out there. And as long as you take it step by step. But you're gonna do it, and that vision starts for me at the beginning of the week.
Got it. Curtis?
Yeah, I mean, so again, we're talking about business planning, going into that process of, right. So we just hit reflect, and now it's all right. This is what last year looked like, right? Here's my accomplishments. Here's my things. Here's my numbers. Here's challenges, whatever. And so you say, all right, what do I want this year to look like, right? And so I think you got to take a few things into consideration, and to me, this is what it looks like, or at least it means, right? So and I think we miss this mark. Sometimes we just go, ooh, I want to do all these things. I want to buy all this stuff. And that's great. I'm not saying don't. But I think you start with, all right, what's my current lifestyle? And I think you start looking at like debt and, I think you got to look at all those things, right? Because the next thing we're going to do is set a goal, which is monetary, right? So, but before we do that, what's my current package look like, right? So, what's my debt? How much I owe, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Here's all my expenses and all my things. And here's my current lifestyle. And Matt alluded to it a little bit. He's talking about schedule and stuff like that. And then here's what I want my life to look like going forward, or at least in 2024, right? So I got my debt. I've got that in there, and I've got that figured out, and how I worked and all this other stuff. And now, how do I want it to be going forward? Am I going to double down on hours? Do I want to take more vacations? What's that going to cost me? All of those things. What do I want to buy? Is there a car, pay debt, this, that, and the other? You got to think about all that kind of stuff. So casting that vision for what I want this lifestyle, my debt, my income, all this stuff to look like in the new year, right? And that goes back to what Matt talked about. He does it with his wife. He does it with his family, right? So maybe that part does include family, because again, the next thing we're going to do is set a goal, which is monetary. We're going to figure it out. We got to know all the things. What's that going to require, right?
Yeah, and there's a big piece of that vision thing that I think people miss too. It's like, who do I have to become to achieve that?
Ooh.
Right? Because if you're setting a vision that's big enough that, and we'll get back into this, kind of goes with that goal thing too, right? If we're setting a vision that's big enough that makes us a little bit nervous, that makes us a little bit scared of what it is, that means that we have to grow, and that's part of the vision. It's like, who do we need to become to achieve the vision and achieve that lifestyle that we want to do? And that's going to that's going to include and have to include a lot more things than just what the monetary piece is, because you're going to have to change what you do. You're going to have to change your habits, your activities. You're going to have to change some of the things that you need to do. And guess that's painful.
Sure.
Right? I mean, changing who you are and growing is painful, but it's something that if you want to succeed at whatever level that you are capable of succeeding at, then we have to do it and add that to it. So,
on top of that, let me say something on that. Any agent out there that's not getting uncomfortable is not going to grow.
Yeah.
So get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just try it. 1 week. Get out of your comfort zone. Watch yourself grow.
Yeah. Well, and you guys know this too. The reality is that you're not going to be perfect when you try something that's new, right? You are going to screw up. You're going to fail. You're going to fall on your face, and it's okay. We have a tendency to take failure and put it as almost a negative, fearful word. I mean, think about this. And you guys have both heard this. Oh, it's not failing. You're learning. You're growing, and there's truth to that too. But the more that we say that, the more we're scared of failing. And there's nothing wrong with failing, right? So it's like, okay, I'm good with failing. I'm good with going outside of it. But if you get 1% better on a daily basis, you're not just 30% better or 365% better. You're 4,000% better when you look at it like that. But that's the part that we don't do on a continuous basis long enough to build new habits and change. So put that as part of your vision in there.
Well, I love where your head's at. I think, the reality is most people play small, right? Yeah. We know this. And yet if we all look, and I don't care what industry you're in, whether it's sales or this or that or whatever, we all know someone that is no more talented, skilled or smarter than we are. Yeah. And they're way up here. And the difference is they have zero problem with being uncomfortable,
Yeah.
like zero. And they just go for it. And it's a mindset deal, right? So, the thing, what's the worst can happen, right? You go big or go home. You go big, you miss the mark. You probably did better than if you were thinking small and set a smaller goal, right? Because what if you set the smaller goal and you don't hit it? Now you're really going to feel bad. So,
Well, they're great book. 10x is easier than 2x that's out there. My supervisor's making sure that she's comfortable over here. There, that's right, exactly. That's part of the vision, by the way, too.
Her to have a happy life.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. You got it. But yeah, there's a lot to that, and that's one of those deep conversations that we could get in alone for hours, and we'll probably go into that too.
Yeah.
Let's move to this one too, because we touched on this as goals, right? And you have monetary goals, and Matt, you hit this one, the nail on the head. And again, it's, oh my gosh, we don't want to talk about money too much, right? It's like, why not? Why not? I mean, so talk a little bit about that.
There was a book that I read, and the actual name of the book is The Goal, right? Just in a nutshell, is about a manufacturer that couldn't figure out, why all this was happening, and why they were having all these bottlenecks and all this good stuff, and the plant manager is basically reading too much into it. And in a nutshell, he goes to this consultant. The consultant comes to him, which was actually his mentor in college, and says, "Your problem is you're forgetting about the goal, and the goal in this instance for anybody, any corporation, individual, is money. And we forget about that when we weigh ourselves down with all these procedures and these policies and these internal conflicts or whatnot. And the ultimate goal for all of us is to pay our bills, is to set a lifestyle to be able to provide for our families, pay our bills, and unfortunately our taxes. And that should be the goal. Money's good for what money does. And that, some of us can be philanthropists, they can be whatever. So, the goal for us in society is money.
Think about it, just to piggyback off that, and then Curtis, when you look at, and I hear this, and I've seen this feedback sometimes as I'm researching companies and looking at feedback and things like that, I have heard and seen and read, oh my gosh, their only concern is money. It's like, guys, get over that.
Yeah.
Seriously, get over that. Because if you are a public traded company, guess what? Your return on investment and total shareholder return is the important piece of it. And it is about profits. And that's good in multiple ways. One, if you're not concerned about profits, well, then how do you have customer service in 5 or 10 years if you're not profitable and you go out of business? You can't, right? How can you continue to hire new, develop more, build more? You can't if there's not a profit. So, and it's the same thing for each individual person and agent and consultant that's out there. You're just you may not be on the stock exchange, but your stock exchange is your bank account.
That's right.
And if you're not looking at it like that, then how do you pay for your kids' college? How do you go on trips and take your spouse and significant other? How do you have the things that you want to do? And how do you retire if you're not worried about the profit and your total shareholder results with who you're looking at in the mirror? And so that's massive when it comes to that. So money is a massive piece of that. So sorry, that was a soapbox that I hear all the time. It's, oh my gosh, it's like, yeah, they are concerned about money. Get over it. You are too.
Everybody is. There was a let's just put this. So I'll try to tie this together real quick. So I've done some live events where we do this, exercise where everybody's trying to figure out their big why, right?
Yeah.
And what's funny is everybody gets all confused and all this other stuff. They think I do it a little differently. So they think that this big why has to be this giant purpose, that they're going to go save all the, starving children in another country, or they're going to, take all the animals that are about to be euthanized. They're going to go buy them up and put them on a farm, and they're going to send oodles of water, out. And I'm like, stop, like, just stop. We're not going there. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your personal big why. I am talking about that selfish thing deep down inside. And if you're not getting this, forgive me, but that selfish thing deep down inside of why do you do what you do in order to earn money? What's important to you? What makes you jump out of bed? And what I'm referring to is why you get up, Rob, and Matt, you get up and I get up. It's to feed my family. It is to have experiences in my life. It is to serve those closest to me first and foremost. And after I do all of that, then I got plenty of time to go have a purpose and save people and do all kinds of stuff. You feel me? And so back to what you were just talking about, corporations and stuff like corporation is a big machine with a whole bunch of people working in it that are there to make money to support themselves. And the investors invest money to make money to support themselves, right? Like, hello. Like, so it's all about money. There's nothing, it's not about greed. It is about, we all have this why deep down inside. We do what we do no matter what that is, right?
Yeah. Spot on.
Yeah.
All right. Again, that's one of those we can go forever on that.
Yeah.
Too. All right. Create a plan. Guys, what's in your plan?
Oh.
Yeah, go.
One. So, I mean, if you're really going to create a plan, you got to have the clients to be able to have the plan. So, number one, leads. Number two, leads in a different form of creating leads. Three, I can keep on going if you see where I'm going with this. So to create a plan, I have to set a vision. Where am I going to gather my business? All right. So my plan is dictated off that. The like social media, like trying to hit up social media. Is that a plan that you want to conquer? Conquer your plans, I guess is what I'm saying. Set them down, list out your goals, conquer plan.
Yep. Of course, you want to add anything in there?
Sure. No, I mean, he's right on. So we just got done setting a goal, right? You had to set some sort of monetary goal to serve your vision, right? So, all right. So I got this big monetary goal. I got to break it down and figure that out, right? What's that look like in sales and so on and so forth. And once I've got that number, all right, like Matt just said, what are the things that I got to do? Now, if we just specifically, because we started this, right, and to talk to, let's just say people in real estate, right? Builder reps and people in real estate. So, all right, my goal is, X dollars, right? However many hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's going to take me how many units, right, to get there, how many sales to get there. And then what are the activities around generating those sales, right? And that's what Matt was alluding to. Do I bring social media in as part of that, generating activity? Maybe you do, right? So, okay, what's social media look like? Well, that's posting this such valuable content every other day or whatever on these platforms. What's my system or whatever around that? Is it, I'm just going to jump out of bed and go old school and make phone calls all day, right? Like, okay, so what's that look like? Is that 2 hours a day? How many people is that? And who is that I'm going to call, right? So that's, I think, what Matt was kind of getting at is, really breaking it down into these specific activities. The only thing I can say sometimes is that, and this has just been my experience with salespeople in the past, is oftentimes a lot of the activities that they'll put on a business plan are marketing. And what I mean by that is you can't necessarily, a lot of times marketing, let me just put it like this. A lot of times marketing is just throwing things out there, but we don't really know the return, right? We're not really set on the return. So we can't kid ourselves and just have, an action plan full of marketing, because we don't know that it's going to produce the result that we're looking for. So while it's good and marketing should be part of a plan, I don't know that sometimes you can directly tie it to a unit or a sale or something like that. So that's the only thing I caution people oftentimes on, because I've seen business plans that are just littered with marketing, and there's no actual, let's just say, lead generating activity, such as picking up the phone, such as networking, such as having conversations with people. They tend to put more marketing on there than they do those activities. So,
yeah, I want to, so I put on the graphic, 20 plus extra deals a year. Right. All right. So I gotta follow through with that. And Matt Bright, I have to say, you're one of the best at doing this. So feel free. If you are a sales consultant on site, you're going to get walk-in traffic, but is that going to help you reach your goals?
No.
I mean, it's going to help, right? But are you going to reach your goals solely on walk-in traffic? No.
I won't meet a 10th. I want to meet a 10th of my goal.
There you go. Right. So here's your piece, and you even won an award for this. Add this to your plans for everybody that watches this. Realtor outreach, general side, resale, realtor outreach. Matt?
So, all right. So I've got 5 things here that I wrote down for your activities. This is what everybody needs to do. One is what we all know, the sphere effect. In new construction, though, it actually works a little bit different, and I'm going to tell you why. Sphere effect is this. I go and I have a client that buys a new construction home. That is a 4 to 6 month build time. I should get to know their aunt, their uncle, their dog, their cat, everyone in that, in their sphere, right? And the reason is that you should be doing weekly updates. You should be going in and doing videos for your clients, calling them on the phone, talking to them. You're usually used to a 30-day transaction. I cannot stress this enough. You're used to getting it over with. This is a different scenario. Think of how many people along the way that you can meet that you're going to sell to. Okay. That's my first soapbox. Second, social media. And I'm going to kind of go off of what we talked about before with this. Just go into that. So, we started this meeting off, and I was kind of passionate about what I said about this is that new agents, any agent, document those new neighborhoods, create a journey, show the progression of that, create a story. The truth is, as salespeople, we are storytellers, right? That's what we do. Get with an agent anywhere, a local builder's agent, whoever, and I'm assure you they're going to be all in on this. Document that journey, interview people, have that discussion with the people in that neighborhood. That's going to do a couple things. One, you're going to get to know all the people in the neighborhood, so whenever they resell, guess who the first person they're going to think of? You created the journey. They're going to expect you to know what's going on, right? That's probably it. And the next thing is I've got this written down. Be consistent. We all know that. Going in, farm those new neighborhoods, guys. Farm those new neighborhoods. There's another thing too that I wasn't going to mention because I feel like it's a secret, and I was going to tell everybody to call me that I have a secret for you guys that you need to call me direct, but I'm just going to go ahead and spill the beans here. If you want to grow your business, you can actually think outside of real estate. It's actually a possibility. And if you get with a new neighborhood, did you know they're looking for all kinds of services? They're looking for lawn care. They're looking for fence builders. I could go on and on and on with this. So you can think outside the box for yourselves on this, but that doesn't create necessarily a service. I mean, it does create a service, but you will be able to create more real estate business by doing this, because If you go in and you have somebody build a fence for them, or if you do, get you a lawn care service or whatever, who are they going to think about on the real estate side? Double whammy, right? The next thing too is believe it or not, I could go in on the investing side of this. You have a lot of builders right now that in certain areas of the country that are needing to sell some of these properties. So if you can get with investors on your end, believe it or not, investors are willing to invest any part of the country. So this might be a good referral network to you guys to get into the investing referral network. I know some of the larger firms, I won't go into the names of them. You guys know who you are. You actually have, you can refer from firm to firm nationwide. I'll let you talk about that, you two, especially you, Rob. And, I could get into this for hours upon hours upon hours. So I hope that just kind of touched the surface of this.
Curtis?
Well, Matt was obviously spelling out things, I love that, that he clearly identified some items that you can do as you're putting your business plan together, or that what he does, right, in order to generate traffic and sales and things of that nature. One thing that he said, and God, we could go into it forever. There's so many topics and how long we could do this, but I love this part that he said. He started bringing up transactional. And here's what I've noticed. I don't care if you're in general real estate, title sales, mortgage business, builder business, I don't care what business you're in. But unfortunately, over the past 3 years, what I've noticed is that 90% of salespeople have become so transactional, it's not even funny. And I think my only caveat to that, and my caveat to that for people that are listening would be, as you sit down and put your business plan together, think about your last year and were you more transactional? In other words, what I mean by that is, okay, I sold this house to this particular client. Were any referrals generated from that? At all, right? Could I have done a better job staying in touch with them, doing some of the things Matt spoke about? Because let's face it, what is the true value of a customer? Well, if I've worked them properly, right, and I go old school, like we used to do this old school, like back in the day, people, professional salespeople built relationships with people and kept them in their sphere for a life. And from that came multiple referrals. And so when you add all of that up, right, if I sell a house today and I made 13 grand or 15 grand or whatever, but first of all, that client that bought that house, by the way, they're moving in 7 to 10 years, just FYI. So that's the average, right? So I can get that deal in the next 7 years or 10 years or whatever. Maybe they move sooner, but 7 to 10 years, I can get that again, provided I stay in touch with them. Hello. But if I sold them a house today for whatever, 13, 14, 15 grand, and I generate 2, 3, 4 referrals from that all are another 15 grand and 15 grand and 15, that one person is like $45,000, $50,000. Hello. Yeah. So again, shame on us as an industry. We've gotten so transactional. I don't know why that is. Maybe, had something to do with COVID and just we were so busy or whatever. But I think going forward, we need to not be transactional and we need to look at things a little bit differently. The other reason we might need to do that is there's a lot of noise out there and competition. Yeah. And nothing you can do about that, right? And so in the real estate space, we've got giant corporations that are spending oodles of dollars marketing to the consumer out there to take them from you. So that's your competition. It's not the guy down the street. That's your competition, is to get those eyeballs or to hang on to those people that we do business with. So anyway, I just think that's something. I don't want to go into all the, like you got to do this and this and this, but just that I think that's an opportunity for us as an industry, or you as a salesperson, whomever, to look at your business and am I transactional? And listen, there's no judgment against it. Just don't do that going forward. Yeah, that's all.
Well, both of you said, and summarize that you're both focused on relationships, not just the transaction, the single closing, but you're building relationships that are long-term, that are going to be repeat business. And that's where you have a predictable, repeatable business, whether you're on the new construction side or the resale side, it's the same.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And so that's all I meant by that is what's my, because I talk to salespeople all the time. They're like, oh, these are my best clients. Well, then they went down the street and bought another house, but it was from somebody else. And I'm like,
Yep.
well, you thought you were in a relationship, but if you really were in a relationship, they wouldn't have thought of anybody else to buy a house from. They were yours for life.
Yep.
And so I think we all think we're really good at that. And yet I think we could be better, right? That's all I'm saying, right? We could be better. And again, no judgment, just, all right, what can I do different going into the new year to make these relationships stronger?
Yep.
and to get more out of those relationships,
Yep, absolutely. All right, so let's move because we got more.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
2 more things. Focus on activities. Tell me about that. How do you focus on activities?
I think I just covered that. I think I jumped a step. I think that's
That
exactly
works.
what I just did.
Awesome.
So, I think that was my bad on that one.
Nope.
No,
you're good.
good.
You're good. That was not a bad. I want to add one thing to that, right? Is we all set goals, right? But we have a tendency to focus on the goal, especially in this business, as opposed to the daily activities. And let me give you just one analogy that I had the opportunity to watch for the past 8-9 years. And that's the Olympic process, right? You think about an Olympian. An Olympian's goal is to win a gold medal in the Olympics. And just put that out here, right? Same thing. If you have a professional sports player, a basketball player, it's to win the NBA title. It's win the NFL championship. It's win coming up the CFP, right? I mean, who wins the National Football Championship? You got March Madness coming. Same thing. The goal is here. It's the end of the season. You want to win the championship. But an Olympian is an extreme example because it's once every 4 years. 4 years, guys. Not next month, not this week, not next year. It's every 4 years. So right now they're training for Los Angeles in 2028. Their focus is not on Los Angeles in 2028. It's on the daily activities that are going to get them to Los Angeles in 2028, right? So their training and their commitment to the activities and that goal and that vision is what they're doing on a daily basis to achieve that. So they're training for the next 4 years and doing the activities on a daily basis to potentially, because they're not guaranteed, they're not going to make the team until 3 years from now, right? And then there's another year, but to hit a goal that they've set 4 years from now that may last 30 minutes. Let that sink in. If their only focus was gold medal in Los Angeles in 2028, guys, they're not going to focus on the day-to-day activities that are going to get them there, and that's their focus. And it's the same thing in real estate. If we focused on the skills, the knowledge, the systems, making the calls, sending the note cards, building the relationships, having real estate conversations on a day-to-day basis, and that's our focus, then you're going to blow away your goals. Just like an Olympian does, just like a pro athlete does. So focus on the activities. The goals will happen. The lead indicators versus the lag indicators. We
just said it. The goals, the desired outcome, are the result of all the activities we did.
Yeah.
Right? So where should your focus be? Over there.
Yeah. Activities. You can control the activities. You can't
control
the outcome.
Correct.
That's right.
So, awesome. All right, Ram. Last one, right, for today. Record numbers, accountability, and make adjustments. Curtis, you start there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's where we tend to fail sometimes as salespeople. We don't, we don't record our numbers, or at least I haven't seen it done really well for a lot of people. And what I mean by that is recording the activities. If part of it is making calls or maybe a social media market, whatever, but recording all of that information, what am I doing? What's the results of that? Right. So that I can make adjustments. It's not working. It is working, whatever. So yeah, I think, recording numbers is just so important because it tells the story. It tells the story of is it working? Is it not working? Am I doing enough or not enough in order to hit the goals that I've set out? Right. Bottom line, right? That's what you do. So you got to record that stuff. And then the accountability piece, it's got to be, in my personal opinion, weekly. Like there's not a monthly, but a month that's too late. At that point, it's too late. Like you got to reflect at least, you got to record your numbers. You got to check them out weekly and have some accountability to that. Now, what's that look like? To me, it looks like having a conversation with somebody. I heard somebody that you respect, a leader or a coach or someone that you can have a business conversation with about your numbers, your activities, and what you're doing. And here's why. Somebody said this to me, and I love this, and this was back when I was coaching or whatever. You can't see the label from inside the box. Like you're in it, people. So you need somebody outside of your world to look at it for you because they might look at it differently. And so oftentimes, and I've had a coach forever, so oftentimes I look forward to my phone calls because I get on the phone with him once a week or whatever, and he'd be like, what did you think about this? Did you think about this? Did you think about this? And I'm like, thought never crossed my mind. And the reason is because you're too busy. You're doing the thing. You're in the stink. And so you need somebody that you got to talk to. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. You're like this. So anyway, and then the last thing, do you make adjustments? Well, that's the benefit of actually recording the numbers, having somebody to talk to, and then you make adjustments. It's working, it's not working. Got to do more of this, got to do more of that, got to make changes, got to pivot, right? We've heard that word a lot over the past 3-4 years, pivot. So anyway, there you go.
Love it. Matt, anything you want to add in there?
Accountability. That is, one of my favorite words in the business world is accountability. How do we hold ourselves accountable? How do we hold people around us accountable? Believe it or not, holding yourself accountable and finding somebody to hold you accountable will grow you further than you could ever imagine, just in the simple fact that, keeps you accountable, right? So make sure you hit those numbers, make sure you hit your daily activities, and make sure you create those visions. It creates everything that we talked about here today. So, that's where you're at. Yep. Make yourselves accountable, guys.
There you go.
The only thing I want to add to that, I heard, and I don't remember what, it's from a book. I think it's from a book, The 12-Week Year or something like that. And the guy summed up accountability. He said something like, because everybody's got this bad word around it. Like accountability is a bad word. Oh my gosh. I don't want to be accountable. But it's something like, I know I'll screw it up. And yet it's something like this. It's being accountable is just simply going to someone and saying, hey, listen, this is who I desired to be. It's not working out. Will you help me? Right? Like this is where I want to go. Not kind of getting there. Will you help me? And I think if we look at accountability a little bit different, then it's not such a bad word, right? Like, that's it.
Yeah. On that, there's a great book called Uncommon Accountability. And what that book is about is the same thing. Accountability. I'll mute Matt because he's doing that real quick. All right, there you go. So uncommon accountability. And what that means is if we look at the Webster's dictionary, it's kind of that negative connotation, right? In a lot of cases. And we look at the news and it's, oh my gosh, we're going to hold him accountable because he went out and did this. So we're going to hold them accountable. Well, if you change the accountability piece to capability, right? We're going to hold you capable of what you're doing. Accountability, you're the only one that can hold yourself accountable to something, right? Because it's that same thing about which note did I put on the refrigerator? Did I do my things today or did I not do my things? I still love you either way, but I failed, right? Yeah. Or I succeeded for you, whichever it is. But if I can have a conversation to hold you capable to what you are truly capable of doing, and by the way, none of us know, because you haven't pushed yourself hard enough. It's changing who we are to do that. And that's a major difference. So hold yourselves capable to what you're doing and have somebody that'll hold you capable too. And by the way, that's going to be a very uncomfortable conversation. So
sure.
Awesome. All right, y'all. Pause to reflect, create a vision, set a goal, create a plan, focus on activities, and RAM. Record your numbers, accountability, and make adjustments. With that, we've gone over a little bit, but guys, we may break these down, and I am grateful for both of you guys and everybody that was here today. Any last words? Any of you guys?
I go like that. No, I'm good. I think it was great. Thank you for having us. There's so much to unpack there, and yet, well, we'll see you in 2 weeks and do this again.
That's right.
Yeah.
2 weeks, guys. That right?
All right, guys.
Hey, for all of y'all, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. We'll see you. Wow. Was it next year? Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me look.
Next week.
No. Yeah, it's the 31st. We'll see you the last day of the year.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Make it a fantastic week, guys. Thank you.